Access your free language gifts right now before they expire. First, the How to Count to 1 Billion PDF ebook. Maybe you can count to 10 in your target language, but with this PDF ebook, you go all the way up to 1 billion. Download it for free right now. Second, want to travel someday? Then get our free must-know travel phrases PDF conversation cheat sheet. If you're a beginner and want to learn the language in 2024, these are some of the first phrases you should learn. Third, what's your language goal for the month? Don't know what language goals to aim for? With this bonus, you'll get the top 10 simple language goals to aim for, plus you'll learn to say them in the target language. Fourth, how do other learners stay motivated? We've collected the top answers from experienced learners, and you can get their tips with this bonus lesson. Fifth, must-know phrases to use with a teacher. Learn how to say, "What does this word mean? I have a question," and much more with this quick vocab bonus. And sixth, tired of apps that only teach you random words? With our innovative language learning app, you learn through conversations and start speaking in minutes because lessons are just 3 to 15 minutes long. Learning is that easy. Download it for free for the Android, iPhone, and iPad. To get your gifts and language learning resources, click the link in the description below. Download them right now before they expire. Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alicia, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. Let's get to your first question this week. First question this week comes from Moises. Hi Moises, I hope I said your name right. Moises says, "Hi Alicia, my name is Moises. My question is, Luke Skywalker and Simba both said, 'You knew my father.' Is that an idiom? If not, when can you omit did in a question? Thanks." Great question. Okay, so this "you knew my father" is actually a confirmation question. So when we are checking our own understanding, we use these kinds of patterns. So the question that you're asking about is a question like, "Did you know my father?" which is a simple yes or no question. But in this case, "you knew my father" is saying, I believe this is true. I'm asking you this question to confirm my understanding of this. So that's why we drop that "did you know" pattern and change it to this confirmation pattern. You knew? This is the purpose of this kind of question. So confirmation questions are extremely common, and it's very important to know how to use them because we use them pretty much every day. Whenever we want to check our own understanding of a situation, we can use a confirmation question to do that. So here's another example that you might see in everyday life, like at work or at school. Here's a school example. Let's say you have the option to choose between "did you pass the test" and "you passed the test." What's the difference here? With "did you pass the test," you are expecting a yes or no answer. On the other hand, with "you passed the test," it sounds like you're kind of surprised. Maybe the test was really difficult. "You passed the test?" Or maybe the person you're talking to didn't study very much and you're surprised that they passed the test. So you're saying, "I didn't expect that. You passed? I want to confirm my understanding." So this is a very common example of another way that we can use these confirmation questions. Let's look at one more in everyday life. Let's imagine you're at home and you're talking about the chores that you have to do at home. And you say to someone that you live with, "Did you wash the dishes?" This is a yes or no question. On the other hand, if you say, "You wash the dishes," it expresses some kind of surprise, like you didn't expect the other person to wash the dishes. Maybe that's not their regular chore, or it's not something that they usually do. Or maybe they did a really bad job washing the dishes, and you look at the dishes and go, "You washed the dishes? This does not look clean at all." So these are the ways that we use confirmation questions. So we want to make sure that we understand a situation correctly when we use these patterns. On the other hand, when we ask these simple yes or no questions, we just want that simple yes or no answer. So this is the reason for this question, "You knew my father," in the examples that you gave. I hope that this helps you understand this situation. Thanks so much for sending your question along. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Miss Selly. Hi, Miss Selly. I hope I said your name right. Maybe McKelly. Hi. McKelly says, "Hello, I'm new on English Class 101. Thanks for your videos on YouTube." Cool. My question is, if I say "my back hurts," doesn't that mean my back always hurts me? What about saying "my back is hurting now"? Great question. Yeah, so this simple present tense structure, my back hurts or my head hurts, this is what we tend to use when we talk about our body's aches and pains and other physical problems that we have. So we do this because it's kind of like we're saying a fact that is true right now, and we're not sure when that is going to change, right? So if you have a stomach ache, for example, you can't say like, oh, my stomach is going to stop being a problem at this time, right? So we don't know when that condition is going to change or when it's going to stop. Same thing for your back, right? We don't know when that's going to change. So using this kind of simple present tense structure sounds more natural because it's like you're saying a fact in the moment, yeah? So if you say, my back hurts, it means right now. And if you want to make it clear that your back is like a regular problem for you, you would probably say, my back always hurts, or my back hurts every day. If you want to use the progressive form, we probably would tend to use it most in situations where we need to talk about something that's a little extreme or something that's different from usual. So for example, you might say, oh, my back is hurting really bad today. That might be like, oh, wow, this is special. This is more than usual. Or like, ow, my head has been hurting for a long time. So that tells us that this has been happening for a long time. So these grammar points give us some information about like how extreme the situation is or how long the situation has been happening. But we tend to use that simple present tense when we talk about our physical problems because it's like a fact in the moment and we're also not sure when it's going to end. So a good general guide to use is when you want to talk about a pain or a problem in your body, use the simple present tense structure to do that. For example, my stomach hurts, or my chest hurts, or my throat hurts, my ear hurts, my head hurts, and so on. If you want to talk about something that's kind of different from usual or more extreme pain than usual, you can do that with maybe a progressive tense structure, or you could use a perfect tense structure like I talked about before, like, my head is hurting really, really bad today, or oh my gosh, my throat has been hurting all morning. These kinds of things give us a little bit more information about how long something has been happening. But generally, when we talk about those pains in our bodies, we use that simple present tense grammar to do that. So I hope that this helps you understand, and thanks so much for sending this question along. Super good one. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Egorova Irisha. Hi, Egorova Irisha. I hope I said your name correctly. Egorova says, hi, Alicia. Could you please explain what the expressions "it dawned on me" and "it grew on me" mean? Sure. Okay, yeah, it dawned on me. Let's start with this one. It dawned on me. So this key word that's in here, dawn, refers to the sunrise, yeah? So sunrise, the point at which the sun becomes visible, we can see the sun again, is called dawn. That time of day is called dawn. So when something dawns on you, it's like you suddenly are able to understand something. So you have the image of the sun coming up, right? Suddenly we can see the sun, we can see everything, right? Because there's light. Conceptually, in our minds, when something dawns on us, we go, oh, and we realize something, maybe for the first time, or we solve a puzzle. Let's look at a couple of examples. Usually when we use "it dawned on me," there's some kind of outside force or some kind of outside influence that causes us to have this realization. So let's say, for example, you are going to a bar or a restaurant and you have a great time there, and you're at a point in your life where you're thinking, what should I do next? Like, what's my next career step? What should I explore next? Maybe you go to the bar or you go to the restaurant and it's beautiful. The food is amazing. There's great drinks. There's great music and nice people. And you might say to yourself, oh, in that moment, it dawned on me. I want to start my own restaurant. So it's like that moment of realization that something becomes so clear for you. This is how we use "it dawned on me." So let's contrast this with the expression "it grew on me." So in this situation, we have the word grow. So the base form of grew is grow. When something grows, it becomes bigger, right? So when something grows on you, it sounds kind of gross, right? But this is also a conceptual thing. So when something grows on you, it means something that was kind of okay before became bigger, and gradually now you actually kind of like that thing. So this is very, very commonly used when we meet new people for the first time and we're not sure about our connection. So for example, let's say you meet someone at a party and you have the first conversation and you think, I person's okay. There's nothing bad about them, but I wasn't so excited. And then you leave the party and you see them again a couple weeks later. You're like, oh yeah, that person. Hey, how's it going? And they have something really interesting to tell you. And you're like, oh, that seems like a cool person. And then you leave. And then another week later, you see the same person again. And you both exchange interesting stories. And after that, you go, you know, that person really grew on me. So it's like saying, at first I wasn't so sure about this person, but over time I decided I liked them. So we typically use this for positive connections. Connections that started out kind of not so special, and over time became something a little bit more special. This is usually what we use "it grew on me" to do. So, in sum, "it dawned on me" is used for realization, something that we think about for a long time and then suddenly we have an answer for. And on the other hand, "it grew on me" is used to talk about something that started off not so special and became something that you actually enjoy. So, thanks very much for sending these questions along. Awesome. All right, that is everything that I have for this week. Thank you, as always, for sending your great questions. Remember, you can send them to me at englishclass101.com/ask-Alicia. There's also a link for this in the YouTube description, so please make sure to send me your questions there. I will definitely see them. Do not put them in YouTube or Facebook or Instagram comments. There are way too many. I will not see it. So please send it to the official question submission page. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, or if you want to practice making some example sentences with what we talked about here, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. Also, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Check us out at englishclass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Ask Alicia, and I will see you again next time. Bye! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome to the 2000 Core English Words and Phrases video series. Each lesson will help you learn new words, practice, and review what you've learned. Okay, let's get started. First is transmit. 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 To transmit is a verb. It sounds a little bit on the formal side, but it means to communicate information, to send information. For example, the know-how of artisans must be transmitted. The know-how of artisans must be transmitted. The know-how of artisans must be transmitted. Next is newspaper publisher. Newspaper publisher. Newspaper publisher. A newspaper publisher is a company or an organization that is responsible for printing and creating newspapers. Here's an example. The newspaper publisher must be responsible for the content. The newspaper publisher must be responsible for the content. The newspaper publisher must be responsible for the content. Okay, next is report. 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 Report can be a noun and a verb. In this case, let's look at the noun form. A report of something is like sharing the information about something. It's the key details of something that happened. Here's an example. I saw the TV report about last night's earthquake. I saw the TV report about last night's earthquake. I saw the TV report about last night's earthquake. Okay, next is submit. 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 To submit is a verb. Usually, to submit means to turn something in. For example, to submit your homework or to submit an application form. It means to give something to someone else to apply for something or to complete something. Here's an example. It is important to submit your stories by the deadline. It is important to submit your stories by the deadline. It is important to submit your stories by the deadline. Okay, next is news. 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 So, news refers to current, recent events. You might have local news, and you probably also know about global news or world news. This news refers to things that are happening around us. Here's an example. Turn on the television so we can watch the news. Turn on the television so we can watch the news. Turn on the television so we can watch the news. Next is TV station. TV station. TV station. A TV station is a place where TV shows are created. So this might be a news station, it might be an entertainment station, it might be an education kind of organization. There are many different types of organizations that produce TV shows. Here's an example. A TV station must balance entertainment and news to keep its audience watching. A TV station must balance entertainment and news to keep its audience watching. A TV station must balance entertainment and news to keep its audience watching. Okay, next is edit. 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 To edit means to make a change to an existing work of art, usually for written works like essays and books and poems, and video-related things and photo-related things. It means to make small changes usually, sometimes big changes to something. For example, an editor will take a lot of information and edit it into a watchable story. An editor will take a lot of information and edit it into a watchable story. An editor will take a lot of information and edit it into a watchable story. Okay, next is cartoon. 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 A cartoon is something that is made from animated or illustrated characters. Cartoons can be movies, and you might also see cartoons in newspapers. Here's an example. Donald Duck is my favorite cartoon character. Donald Duck is my favorite cartoon character. Donald Duck is my favorite cartoon character. Okay, next is program. 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 Program is a noun and a verb. As a noun, it often refers to a specific TV show, as in something that you watch every week or every day. Here's an example sentence. I watch my favorite program every Friday night on TV. I watch my favorite program every Friday night on TV. I watch my favorite program every Friday night on TV. Okay, next is channel. 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 A channel is usually a number that is assigned to one specific broadcast station or TV station. You can choose the channel to choose the type of content you want to watch. Here's an example. If you don't like one TV show, you can just change the channel. If you don't like one TV show, you can just change the channel. If you don't like one TV show, you can just change the channel. Let's review. I'm going to describe a word or phrase in English. See if you can remember it. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say the word that means to share information with someone else, especially digitally? Transmit. Transmit. And how to say the organization or company responsible for creating newspapers. Newspaper publisher. Newspaper publisher. What about the word that means sharing information, especially about a recent event? Report. Report. Do you remember how to say the verb that means to turn in something, like an application? Submit. Submit. Let's try the word that means recent events in your city, in your country or even around the world? News. News. What about the expression that means the place or organization where TV content is created? TV station. TV station. Now, let's see if you remember how to say the verb that means to make changes to something, like a work of writing or a picture or a video. Edit. Edit. Another one. What about the word that means an animated or illustrated story, like something you see in a movie or on TV or in a newspaper? Cartoon. Cartoon. Do you remember how to say the word that means a specific TV show, like something you watch every day or every week? Program. Program. And finally, do you remember how to say the number assigned to a specific kind of content made by a TV station? Channel. Channel. Well done! See you next time. Bye! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome to the 2000 Core English Words and Phrases video series. Each lesson will help you learn new words, practice, and review what you've learned. Okay, let's get started. First is media. 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 Media refers to a lot of different things like news, art, entertainment, basically anything you can read, listen to, watch, something like that. You can take in information in some way. This is referred to, or this is called, media. Here's an example sentence. The media industry is rapidly changing because of the internet. The media industry is rapidly changing because of the internet. The media industry is rapidly changing because of the internet. Okay, next word is translate. 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 To translate is a verb. To translate something means to change written words from one language to another. So we use translate when we're talking about a book, an article, something that is written. Here's an example sentence. I can translate the document by next Friday. I can translate the document by next Friday. I can translate the document by next Friday. Okay, next is printing. 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 Okay, so printing refers to the process of creating something physical from something digital. Usually, we use the verb to print when we talk about something we need to use at school or at work, and we usually print something on paper. Here's an example sentence. The woman is printing a document. The woman is printing a document. The woman is printing a document. Okay, next is boardroom. 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 A boardroom is a meeting room. The difference between a boardroom and a meeting room is that usually boardrooms are places where the very, very high-level people in companies have their meetings. So these people are often referred to as the board of the company. They're kind of the people in charge of the company. As a result, the place where they have their meetings is called the boardroom. Here's an example sentence. Our important meetings are all held in the boardroom. Our important meetings are all held in the boardroom. Our important meetings are all held in the boardroom. Okay, next is chairman. 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 A chairman is someone who is in charge of something else, usually a group or a department or a committee of some kind. Chairman refers to a male who is in charge. You might see chairperson also used to talk about someone regardless of gender. Here's an example sentence. The chairman is usually the person in charge. The chairman is usually the person in charge. The chairman is usually the person in charge. Okay, the next word is interpreter. 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 An interpreter is someone who changes spoken language from one language to another. So you see interpreters in business situations, like in conferences and in meetings, and you might also see them in news-related situations. Here's an example sentence. I want to be an interpreter of Japanese and Thai. I want to be an interpreter of Japanese and Thai. I want to be an interpreter of Japanese and Thai. Okay, the next word is translator. 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 A translator is someone who changes written words from one language to another. So this is different from an interpreter. An interpreter changes spoken words from one language to another. A translator changes written words from one language to another. So these people are very, very important for books and articles and other written things. Here's an example sentence. I was a French translator before. I was a French translator before. I was a French translator before. Okay, next is humorous. 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 Humorous means funny. This is an adjective. The difference between humorous and funny is that humorous is more formal than funny. In everyday conversation, we usually say something is funny, but if you need to say something is funny in a more formal or polite situation, you can say that thing is humorous. Here's an example. A humorous story is a great way to make a point. A humorous story is a great way to make a point. A humorous story is a great way to make a point. Okay, next is joke. 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 Okay, a joke can be a noun and to joke is used as a verb. So when we tell a joke as a noun, we are telling a funny story. When we use it as a verb, to joke, it means the process of telling a funny story or making some kind of situation, the aim of which is for people to laugh. Here's an example sentence. The clown jokes a lot. The clown jokes a lot. The clown jokes a lot. Okay, next is impression. 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 So, impression is a noun, and impression is an idea of something else. We usually use impression when we talk about like our idea of someone's personality or someone's character, or maybe even an idea someone had. So we can use it sometimes to ask about another person's opinion of someone else. Another common situation in which we use impression is in the expression first impression, which means our first opinion of someone when we meet them. Here's an example sentence. What was your impression of the boss's idea? What was your impression of the boss's idea? What was your impression of the boss's idea? Let's review. I'm going to describe a word or phrase in English. See if you can remember it. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say the word that refers to all the entertainment, news, and information we can consume? Media. Media. And do you remember how to say the verb that means to change one language, the written form, from one language to another? Translate. Translate. What about the word that means to change something from a digital form to a physical form, usually on paper? Printing. Printing. Okay, do you remember how to say the word for meetings that is used by people who are very high up in the company? Boardroom. Boardroom. Let's try the word that's used to talk about the person who is in charge of a group, a committee, or maybe a department. Chairman. Chairman. What about the word that means the person who is in charge of changing spoken language from one language to another? Interpreter. Interpreter. Now, let's see if you remember how to say the person who changes written language from one language to another. Translator. Translator. Another one. What about the word that means funny but is more formal? Humorous. Humorous. Do you remember how to say the word that means a funny story or to create a funny situation? Joke. Joke. And finally, do you remember how to say your opinion of something, especially a person's character, personality, or ideas? Impression. Impression. Well done! See you next time. Bye!
Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary, followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Have you chosen where we're going in San Diego?
We're going to a sushi bar on the wharf. There's a beach nearby as well.
Sounds great. I love sushi, especially when it's fresh.
Yeah, there are closer restaurants, but sushi just sounds good.
And more expensive, but that's okay. Sushi sounds like it will hit the spot for me as well. I'll go tell the others.
I already told them. They thought sushi sounded better as well.
Now you will hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Fresh.
Recently made or obtained.
Wharf.
A level area where a ship may be moored to load and unload.
Sounded.
To seem or to appear as.
Beach.
Area close to the ocean, covered in sand or small rocks.
Spot. Position.
Sushi.
A Japanese dish consisting of small balls of rice, often with raw fish.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Have you chosen where we're going in San Diego?
We're going to a sushi bar on the wharf. There's a beach nearby as well.
Sounds great. I love sushi, especially when it's fresh.
Yeah, there are closer restaurants, but sushi just sounds good.
And more expensive, but that's okay. Sushi sounds like it will hit the spot for me as well. I'll go tell the others.
I already told them. They thought sushi sounded better as well.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.
Welcome to your 2000 Core English Words and Phrases video series quiz. Each week, we'll release a video teaching you new vocabulary. The following week, you'll be given a quiz so you can test your progress. Click the link in the description. Let's learn and review the words for your test. But if you're ready, it's quiz time. Local trains. Timetable. Ticket inspection. Ticket gate. Platform. Ticket machine. Ticket booth. Print. Publish. Pamphlet. Great job on completing the quiz. If you didn't get 100%, don't worry. Just check out the previous video again to review the expressions we covered. But before you go, we have a free gift that you don't want to miss. Use it to expand your vocabulary. Click the link in the description below to download our English ebook with the core 2,000 words for daily life situations. Welcome to your 2000 Core English Words and Phrases video series quiz. Each week, we'll release a video teaching you new vocabulary. The following week, you'll be given a quiz so you can test your progress. Click the link in the description. Let's learn and review the words for your test. But if you're ready, it's quiz time. Transmit. Newspaper publisher. Report. Submit. News. TV station. Edit. Cartoon. Program. Channel. Great job on completing the quiz. If you didn't get 100%, don't worry. Just check out the previous video again to review the expressions we covered. But before you go, we have a free gift that you don't want to miss. Use it to expand your vocabulary. Click the link in the description below to download our English ebook with the core 2,000 words for daily life situations. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about how to use the English preposition at. Let's get started. Okay, the first use of at I want to talk about in this lesson is using at with places and buildings. So we use at with places and buildings to express a place where something happens. Let's take a look at some examples of this. First, at the bank or at the supermarket. We can use at before typical places in our community. So you can use this with places that you go every week, every day, whatever. We use this to talk about our errands, like I'm at the bank right now, or I'm at the supermarket right now. Do you need anything? We use it in this way to talk about places in our community. You'll also commonly hear it used with at work to talk about being at your job. I'm at work right now, or I'm at work until this time. Another one you might hear is used in cases like this, like at the mountain or maybe at the river. So even though this is not like a building in the community, if it's a place that's known in your community, like I said, a mountain or maybe a river or some other natural feature that's near your town that everybody understands when you mention it, it's common to use this the before that place when you talk about being there. So for example, I'm snowboarding at the mountain today, or we're swimming at the river today. So you may hear this used for recreational activities, leisure activities. You might also hear it used in cases like these, at a party or at a concert. So in these cases, party and concert are not like physical places. They're not buildings and they're not like a place in the community, but they're events. So they're kind of like short-term gatherings, yeah? So we use at to talk about those. I'm at a party or I'm at a concert. The last one here is at home, another very, very common one. Please keep in mind we use at home to talk about something that is already at your home. So we don't use the expression at home when we're talking about going to or coming from our home. We could say, I'm at home right now, or I was at home last night when the storm began. So we use at home for things that are already in our home. Another couple points I want to make here. Maybe you've noticed I've used like the, in these cases. So when you use the, like at the bank or at the supermarket, it's for something in the conversation that is known. Same thing with like at the mountain or at the river. If there's a place that your family or your friends, whatever, in your like group of people that you regularly talk with, if everybody understands which bank you mean or which supermarket you mean, it's very common to use the. If you say I'm at a bank or I'm at a supermarket, it sounds like you're at a place that's new to everybody. Or if you say I'm at a mountain, it sounds like you're at a mountain the other person doesn't know about. That's why we use the in these cases. The reason is before party or concert is because maybe there's a chance the other person doesn't know which party you mean or which concert you mean. If you're talking to somebody in your friend group and they know about a party or some event that's happening on a certain day or a certain night, you might say, oh, I'm at the party right now. In that case, very natural, totally correct to say I'm at the party, or here I'm at the concert. That's also totally natural to use. So just keep in mind, if it's a place that the other person knows about, use the. Or if it's a place you go in your community, use the. If it's something that the other person probably doesn't know about or it's new information, use a. One more point about places and buildings with at. We use in when it's important to express being inside a building or space. So lots of people ask, like, what's the difference between in or at? Like, should I use in the bank or in the supermarket or at the bank or at the supermarket? Is it correct? And the answer is sometimes it's correct, yes. So when people ask, like, should I use in with this or should I use at with this? It's up to you, it's up to the situation. So for example, with in the supermarket versus at the supermarket, if you want to express being inside the supermarket, if it's important to express that you are inside the supermarket, you can use in. I'm in the supermarket. So for example, if you want to meet someone at the supermarket and you go inside, you might contact them and say, hey, I'm in the supermarket right now. Please come meet me. So using in gives that feeling of being inside someplace. You can also use it in a situation like a party as well. Oh, I'm in the party right now, or I'm in a meeting right now is another thing you might hear. So you can take a look at the video I made about how to use the preposition in for more details about that. But please keep in mind we use in when we want to refer to being inside a space. Okay, so let's continue on then to the next group. The next way that we use at is with time expressions. We use at before a time of day. For example, at 2 p.m. or at 10:30. We can also use it before a word that refers to a time of day, like at noon. So noon means 12 o'clock, so 12 p.m. in the day. Or at midnight. So at 12 o'clock nighttime. At night is another expression we use. So we use at before these points in time, before these times of day, to express the time something happens or something happened in the past, or the time that something is going to happen. So for example, let's meet at 2 p.m. That's the schedule for the meeting in the future. Or we met at 2 p.m. So past activity. So we use time expressions with at to talk about like a schedule for something. A note about this point. People ask about other prepositions with time expressions. So the preposition in is used before a length of time, like 5 minutes or 2 hours or 3 years. This expresses duration, so how long something happened or how long it took to do something. So in and at have very different uses. The preposition by is also very commonly used before a time expression, but by is used before a point in time to express a deadline. So this is very different from at. When we say by 2 p.m., it means something is going to be finished by 2 p.m. Something has a deadline of 2 p.m. If we say at 2 p.m., it just means something is going to happen at that time. So please keep this in mind. This is a key difference between by and at. Okay, so let's continue on to the last group here. The last group is common expressions with at. So I've chosen a few that I hope are kind of helpful for you that you might not know the meaning of. Let's talk about this first one here then. At least, at least. So at least expresses something positive in a negative situation. So here's an example sentence. Oh no, I forgot my wallet. At least I have my phone. I can pay for things digitally. So we use at least when we want to show there's a bad situation, a negative situation, but we have this positive point inside it. So in this case, the negative situation is I forgot my wallet. But I want to express there's this other good thing, or there's some way that I can kind of save the situation, so I use at least to do that. At least I have my phone. That means I have this positive thing inside this bad situation that can help me in some way. So this is at least. Another very common expression with at is at first. At first means initially or in the beginning. So we commonly use this when we want to talk about our first idea maybe, or our first thought about something, and then we think about it, or after some point in time, we've changed our idea. So an example of this, at first, I thought I would vacation in Hawaii this summer. But then I realized how expensive tickets are and made different plans. So this is showing two ideas. At first, I thought thing A, but after some time, I decided to do thing B. So it's very common to present at first with a but then statement. So this is another very common way we use at. Two more. First one is at length. At length. This means for a long time. At length tends to sound a little bit more formal. We kind of use it in polite situations when we want to express for a long time. And sometimes for a long time can have a negative feel to it if we express like kind of negative feelings. At length can mean just that someone spoke for a long time, but it doesn't have always such a negative feel about it. So an example of this, the president spoke at length about the importance of work-life balance. The president spoke at length. So we could replace at length with for a very long time in the sentence, and it would still be correct. The president spoke for a very long time about the importance of work-life balance. But at length sounds a little bit more polite. It sounds a little more kind of professional than for a long time. Okay, the last one I included here is at once. At once. So at once is a kind of polite or formal expression, which means immediately or right away, right now. So we use this in like customer service situations. For example, we'll fix this error at once. We'll fix this error at once. That means right away. We'll fix this error immediately, right now. So you might hear at once used in these polite customer service related situations. So these are just a couple of expressions that I chose that I thought would be helpful to introduce. There are many, many expressions that use at. So please keep in mind, unfortunately, unlike this point and this point, there's not an easy rule for the meanings of at or knowing when to use at in these kinds of expressions. You can consider them kind of like vocabulary words to study or short phrases to study. So please keep this in mind as you are reading and listening. But I hope that this was a helpful introduction to how to use this preposition. And please take a look at the other preposition videos on the channel for more information about the other prepositions I mentioned in this lesson. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, or if you want to practice making some example sentences with this information, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. Also, if you like this lesson, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. Whenever I'm ready. All right, begin. Hi everybody, welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to be talking about 10 horror movie words. These are words you can use to describe horror movies and the things that happen inside them. Ooh. That was not a horror sound. It should be more like, ah! Scary. Scary. Scary is maybe the most basic adjective you can use to describe a feeling of fear. Something is scary. That movie is scary. That dog is scary. My aunt is scary. I'm not really sorry. Sorry, aunties. I have a million. Something that is scary, like haunted houses are scary. That was a pretty scary movie. Creepy. Creepy. Okay, so creepy is different from scary because creepy is more like a very, very subtle, or like kind of just a feeling, a slight feeling. Usually we say like a place is creepy, or maybe we can say a person is creepy. We can talk about a creepy movie as well, but creepy, the nuance of creepy is it's just a slight feeling. There's no really like you don't feel like screaming or shouting or crying, or it's not an extreme feeling, but creepy is like it's a feeling of uneasiness. You feel unsettled. Something's not right. So like if you see maybe a suspicious person at a station, you could say, oh, that person looks a little creepy, or that person is creepy. Or maybe, ooh, this house is creepy. Something is a little wrong. Something feels a little bit out of place or different. In another sentence, that old house is so creepy. Eerie. Eerie. Eerie is very similar to creepy. Eerie sounds a bit more formal than creepy. Eerie is for something that's like, for example, a strange coincidence, like a very mysterious coincidence. We can use that. For example, how did she know that my mother was dead? That's eerie. Or like like in a movie where there's a psychic, someone who can read the future or read other people's histories or something. That's eerie. So some like coincidental information that's very mysterious. We can say that's eerie. We can also use kind of a mysterious place for eerie. So like a forest could be very eerie. Maybe it's not scary, but for example, the image I'm thinking of is like a dark forest, but maybe there's lots of mist. Like if you saw the movie like Lord of the Rings, like the scenes where like they go to visit the elves in that movie, there's like forest and mist and people kind of move through the forest very slowly. It's a very eerie feeling. So maybe it's a little bit scary, but it's also kind of mysterious. That's eerie. The Old Forest has an eerie feeling. Grotesque. All right, the next word is grotesque. Grotesque is a word that means like lots of blood, lots of like bodily violence, like maybe people like being chopped or animals being chopped. It's very like human body or animal body. So like this very like strong visuals of terrible things happening. That's grotesque. So you might see this in like video games too. If you shoot someone in a video game or you shoot a creature in a video game and it's very realistic, then we could say that it's grotesque. Something that's grotesque is very, very extreme and often violent and just very it's kind of I don't know. That's how I would describe it. But yeah, the image is like kind of bodies, blood, guts, extreme imagery. So in a sentence, I hate grotesque films. Gory. The next word is gory. So gory is just like grotesque, really, but grotesque sounds a little more formal. Gory is a little bit more casual, I think. It's grotesque. So there's lots of like kind of extreme images, but gory sometimes is more like you might see in a comic book, for example. If you saw the movie like Kill Bill, for example, a lot of those scenes, you could say they're really grotesque, but I feel they're more gory. Like there's a lot of blood in those movies, but it's somewhat like a comic book. It's not quite as realistic as maybe another movie. But maybe lots of, fake blood and like, again, lots of violence and maybe people dying is kind of gory. That's how I would explain gory. Generally, though, we can use grotesque and gory in mostly the same way. But to me, gory feels a little bit more like a comic book. I think that's a good example of the type of violence you would see or describe as gory. In a sentence, slasher movies are really gory. A slasher movie is like slash, so like a bad guy, a murderer, like will like kill people. We call those slasher movies. The image is slashing someone. Bonus word, slasher movies. Horrifying. The next word is horrifying. Horrifying. So you can see the root there is horror. Or horror, we modify that to horrifying. It makes me horrified. That movie is horrifying. So to describe your feeling, you say, I am horrified. That movie was horrifying. So please keep in mind that ed-ing difference here. Horrifying, it makes you feel horror. You feel like, shock and fear at the same time. You feel uneasy too. So horror is kind of an extreme word, I feel like. I don't use the word horrifying unless something is, quite a high level. You can use this for movies, yes, but you can also use this, for example, with negative news stories. So if you see something on the news that's really negative or really, really shocking and sad, you can say, did you see the news? It was horrifying what happened. That's a really good word to use for movies and for the news. In a sentence, the scene at the end of the movie was horrifying. Terrifying. The next word is terrifying. So terrifying is different, slightly different from horrifying. Again, we have I feel terrified. That movie was terrifying. But the root here is terror. The terror comes from terror. So different from horror, which is more like kind of shock. Horror has more of a nuance of shock and unease. Terror has that it makes you feel that excited feeling plus fear. So maybe something that makes you want to run away, for example, or something that's like shocking and it's really like exciting in a negative way. That's terrifying, a terrifying feeling.
So for example, maybe if you've been in a car accident, maybe it was a terrifying experience. Or if you had any other like kind of fast-paced, like dangerous situation, we can say that's terrifying. So in a sentence, horror movies these days are absolutely terrifying, super scary. So they make you feel excited and scared at the same time. Hair raising. Hair raising, hair raising. So the image here is that any hair on your body, like on your arm or your leg or the back of your neck too, it's something is so scary, like that the hairs on your body like raise up. So we usually use this for like a sound or let's see, what else? Or maybe a feeling as well. So a lot of times maybe it's the sound of string instruments in the soundtracks of horror movies that make us feel like, oh gosh, that was a hair-raising sound. Those kind of sounds and those feelings make it make situations, make feelings where we feel like we could explain that with hair-raising. So in a sentence, we would say, we heard a hair-raising noise in the woods. So you might, another bonus word, you might get goosebumps. We call it goosebumps. Usually it happens when you're cold, but when you feel nervous or scared too, your skin might get these teeny little bumps on them, and we call those goosebumps. And so oftentimes goosebumps and like hair-raising sounds, we use those two words, goosebumps and hair-raising, to express similar feelings. So if you hear a hair-raising noise, you could say, oh, that sound was so scary. It gave me goosebumps. Goosebumps is a countable noun. Blood curdling. The next word is blood curdling. Blood curdling. So blood being that stuff inside your body, inside your veins and arteries. Curdle. So curdle, if any of you are interested in food, curdle is related to like milk and dairy products. So curdle means liquid coming together in a solid. So it takes time usually, or it's an effect that happens to milk and to dairy products. But here it's blood curdling. So the idea is that something has such a strong effect on you that your blood curdles. It's so terrifying that it curdles your blood. This is a word that's often used to describe sounds, like a blood-curdling voice or a blood-curdling scream is how it's often used. So, in a sentence, the monster's scream was blood-curdling. Unnerving. Unnerving, unnerving. Similar to creepy, unnerving is like something that feels a little wrong. It's just not quite right. So again, you can use this for a movie. A movie can be unnerving. Unnerving can be used to talk about any kind of strange or sort of incorrect feeling situation. In a sentence, that was a really unnerving movie. Unnerve makes you lose your nerve. Your nerve is your confidence. Your nerve is your ability, like your belief in yourself. So something which is unnerving means it takes away or it removes that feeling. So something which is strange that happens in your, like where you are, something you're seeing or experiencing, it makes you feel like, oh, I've lost my nerve. I've lost my confidence. It's not right. Something's not right here. Or maybe I can't do this after all. So you could say a situation is unnerving as well. That's the end. So those are 10 words that you can use to talk about horror movies. If there's a different word that you use, or if you have any questions about these words, please feel free to leave us a comment below. If you liked this video, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button and please subscribe to our channel too if you haven't already. If you want to check out more stuff like we've talked about here today, please check us out at EnglishClass101.com. Thanks very much for watching and we will see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Christine from EnglishClass101.com. In this video, we'll be talking about how to curse like an English native speaker. Piss, a slang term for urine. For example, don't piss your pants. You can say this when you're really scared or anxious. For example, if you're about to go on stage to make a speech or perform, someone can say, don't piss your pants. You can do it. Pissed off, to be really angry. When I'm angry, I can say, hey, I'm really pissed off at you right now. Why did you do that for? Loser, used to describe an uncool person. In high school, my friends and I would use this a lot, and we would say, hey loser, how's it going? Idiot, used to insult people by saying they're not intelligent. Of all the mean things that you can say, this is on the lighter side, but people still use it. Shoot. This is used to show disappointment or frustration without using a stronger curse word. Shoot, I spilled my coffee. Shut up. You can use this when you want them to be quiet, or there's something surprising that you just heard. You can say, shut up, no way. Ticked off, to be really angry. You can say this with pissed off. So this is actually an older term. Not many people use this as much anymore because most people actually just use pissed off. Fool. This is similar to saying someone is like a clown. You can say, you're acting like a fool right now. Jerk. This is a light insult used to describe someone who is mean. For example, if there's someone bullying another person, that person is being a jerk. Wimp. This means someone who isn't strong. There is a movie out right now called Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Have you seen it? Have you not? I haven't yet. So how was it? If you have any more questions, please leave a comment below. See you next time.
Hey everyone, I'm Paris from EnglishClass101.com. In this video, we're talking about how to ask and give directions. Let's start. To the left, to the left. The first phrase is, where is the? Where is the? For example, you can ask, where is the bank? This can be used to ask for a general location or detailed directions. Don't be surprised if you only receive basic information. For example, next to the grocery store. The next phrase is, I need to go to the. I need to go to the. For example, you can say, I need to go to the police station. The word need is used, but this is used for non-emergencies as well. How do I get to the? How do I get to the? For example, you can say, how do I get to the museum? This question can be used to ask for step-by-step directions instead of a general location. Is the near here? Is the near here? For example, you can say, is the library near here? If you're unfamiliar with an area, you can ask to get this information about a specific place where you want to go. Is the bathroom near here? Excuse me, do you know where the is? Excuse me, do you know where the is? For example, you can say, excuse me, do you know where the park is? Only use excuse me when you're starting a conversation with a stranger. Another common phrase is the far from here? Is the far from here? For example, you can say, is the post office far from here? This is an indirect way to ask for directions. People will tell you how far the place is and probably tell you the best way to get there. Walking, taking a bus, driving, Uber. Now let's take a look at expressions to give directions. Turn left. Turn left. For example, you can say, turn left after 2 blocks. This gives you information about how far you should go before you make any changes. In this case, you should go left. To the left, to the left. Turn right. Turn right. For example, you can say, turn right at the 3rd traffic light. This also gives you information about how far you should go before taking another action. In this case, you should go right. Go straight. Go straight. This simply tells you to go in one direction. It also implies that if you keep going straight, that you will eventually find what you're looking for. Go past. Go past. For example, you can say, go past the church. A landmark is just an easily noticeable place, for example, a movie, theater, restaurant, at the corner of. At the corner of. For example, you can say, it's at the corner of. This means that a place is located at the corner where two streets meet. In front of. In front of. For example, you can say, the bus station is in front of the supermarket. We use front to refer to the main entrance of a building. It can also mean visible from the front, and doesn't necessarily mean it's directly in front of something. Behind. Behind. For example, you can say, the parking lot is behind the movie theater. We use behind to say that something is at the rear of a building. The front of a building is its main entrance, so which side it's facing the street is really not important. Next to. Next to. For example, you can say, the restaurant is next to the park. This is an example of using a non-specific location to give general directions. Next to can be anywhere beside, in front of, or around a place. McDonald's is next to my house. Between. Between. For example, you can say, the store is between the coffee shop and the pet store. Between is used with two other places. When using between, the main place will always be in the middle of the two other places. Okay, that's all for this lesson. Which phrase do you like the most? Leave us a comment and let us know. And I'll see you next time, guys. Bye!
Access your free language gifts right now before they expire. First, the How to Count to 1 Billion PDF ebook. Maybe you can count to 10 in your target language, but with this PDF ebook, you go all the way up to 1 billion. Download it for free right now. Second, want to travel someday? Then get our free must-know travel phrases PDF conversation cheat sheet. If you're a beginner and want to learn the language in 2024, these are some of the first phrases you should learn. Third, what's your language goal for the month? Don't know what language goals to aim for? With this bonus, you'll get the top 10 simple language goals to aim for, plus you'll learn to say them in the target language. Fourth, how do other learners stay motivated? We've collected the top answers from experienced learners, and you can get their tips with this bonus lesson. Fifth, must-know phrases to use with a teacher. Learn how to say, what does this word mean? I have a question, and much more with this quick vocab bonus. And sixth, tired of apps that only teach you random words? With our innovative language learning app, you learn through conversations and start speaking in minutes, because lessons are just 3 to 15 minutes long. Learning is that easy. Download it for free for the Android, iPhone, and iPad. To get your gifts and language learning resources, click the link in the description below. Download them right now before they expire. Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.